Hello everyone, myself Bhumit Sagate from collegedina.com. Today we are having with Dr. Hiren Patel sir. He is a principal in Sarvajanik College of Engineering and Technology. Hello sir, welcome to our education portal collegedina.com. Hello sir.
Hi.
So sir,
Good
start. Good afternoon sir. So sir, start with the questionnaire session sir. My first question is, you have held a key position at Education Institute throughout your professional career. So, what are the key factors that keep you connected with education sector?
Yeah, I have enjoyed various positions in the Educational Institute throughout my professional career. Since I joined this Sarojini College of Engineering and Technology in January 1997, I have held various positions in the institute. I have served as head of department, central exam coordinator, coordinator for central assessment for the university, dean academic, dean R&D, and the principal. In these various capacities, I have interacted with the students and faculties in different ways and have observed the different dimensions and the skills of the students and the teachers. In industries, you are sure about the raw material, process, the physical form of the final product and its quality. And there is mostly uniformity at all these stages. Unlike it, in our education sector, the students and even the colleagues are not of the same type due to the various factors like the strata of society they come from, the place they belong, their school education, financial background, interest, attitude, intelligence, and many more factors. So thus it is a challenging task to design and align the entire process of education and the components involved therein for the students having different attitude and aptitude to finally provide some useful quality professionals who can contribute positively to the society. In education sector, the product that is provided in form of graduates is not just evaluated on its knowledge or degree, but it is the overall development of the students with some intangible qualities and the values which are difficult to measure. This challenge is one of the driving factors that have kept me associated with this field. In addition, there are several other driving factors which have kept me connected with this field. It is in my blood, as my father is a retired principal. Also, being associated with education sector, it keeps you in touch with various developments in the field. Last but not the least, you continuously get a chance to interact with the youth and can play a role, or you can say a pivotal role in motivating, grooming and guiding the youth. And in that way, it gives a sense of contributing to a society and a nation building. In fact, it even keeps you young and one can learn a lot from the students.
Okay. Very nicely explained, sir. So on that note, my next question is, being the principal of Sarvajanik College of Engineering and Technology, what is your philosophy of leadership? How would you describe your leadership style?
Yeah. So let me start with the philosophy of the trust that manages the institute and that of our leaders who are our guiding force. Sarvajanik College of Engineering and Technology, popularly known in the region as CAT, is managed by 108 years old philanthropic trust Sarvajanik Education Society. It was established, I'm talking about our trust SES. So it was established with a vision and philosophy to provide quality education to everyone at affordable price. The trust is governed in a wholly democratic manner, wherein the office bearers, that is the chairman and the vice chairman, are elected every 2 years in a purely democratic manner. The management provides the platform and enough freedom to each institution to grow and transform itself into the best one in the state. At SCAT also, the same philosophy of allowing equal and abundant opportunities to everyone to grow and to positively contribute to the institute is followed. Various leadership styles like autocratic, democratic, bureaucratic, transformational, transactional, etc. are in existence and applied differently by different leaders, may it be in industry or in academia. However, the transformational and the transactional type of leadership appeals me a lot, and I believe in exercising a mix of these two. Transformational leadership helps in creating positive and valuable change in the teachers and the students, encourage them to have a strong team building, develop belongingness, and gives the job satisfaction. It comprises of 4 skills: inspiration, charisma, intellectual stimulation, and individual consideration. On the other hand, transactional leadership sets the goals and makes clear the relationship between performance and rewards to employees. Employees know what they are required to do in order to receive rewards. At SCAT, the management and the principal identifies the individual potentials and nurtures the same by providing the necessary stimulation and inspiration from the top. The achievers and contributors are appreciated by appropriate recognition and the promotions. The same is known to all the teachers and even to the students that their efforts will get recognized. Thus, at SCAT, we exercise the mix of transformational and transactional leadership style to continuously excel and to maintain a healthy competition and growth. In this era of strong competition, I believe that the mix of 2 leadership styles is going to give quick and effective results, especially in the areas of research and consultancy, on which we are having a great focus from last couple of years. Over to you.
Very well said, sir. So, sir, coming to the next question, how does the curriculum of Sarvajanik College of Engineering and Technology insert the best practice of industry?
Yeah. So, Sarvajanik College of Engineering and Technology, being affiliated to the Gujarat Technological University, which you can say it is a central technological university in the state of Gujarat, and hence we do not have much flexibility in the curriculum design, as we have to follow the syllabus suggested and framed by the Board of Studies constituted by the university for respective disciplines. However, at our institute, we have established well-defined process and the organizational structure to overcome this limitation. At SCAT, we follow the outcome-based education, which is reflected in form of several of our courses which are accredited by the National Board of Accreditation. The missing links in the curriculum are bridged through the measures of the graduate attributes and the students have acquired during the course. Various indirect and indirect assessment tools are used for such evaluation, which involves obviously the exams, feedback from employers, parents, industries, alumni, and even our peer institutes. Based on the feedback, actions are taken to incorporate some of the missing links in the curriculum through the expert lectures, industrial visits, internships, training programs, grooming or finishing courses. We have even framed Department Advisory Committee for all the departments. It has the representation from alumni, professionals from industries, and academicians from esteemed educational institutes to guide on the curriculum. The institute has signed MOU with some industries and trainers so that our graduates have the qualities to match those required by the industry. We even have some representations on Board of Studies of few disciplines, and hence convey the recommendations received from various stakeholders during the time of curriculum revision. We continuously update our laboratories with modern tools to not only just match the academic requirements, but to give feel of the working environment and infrastructure that the graduates is likely to get in the industry during his job. It is even ensured that the faculties are regularly going through the industrial visit and the training so that they also remain aware of the practices in the industries and can accordingly orient the courses and the laboratory as per those practices. Okay.
Very nicely explained about curriculum, sir. So coming to the next question, what do you see as Sarvajanik College of Engineering and Technology's greatest strength?
Yeah. Difficult to mention just one, as we have many on which we have established ourselves in the field of education. Since the inception in 1995, Sarvajanik College of Engineering and Technology has been able to mark its distinct presence in the field of education in the state of Gujarat. For any institute to survive and grow continuously, one of the major requirements is the dedicated and well-oriented human resource. Yes, at SCAT, our greatest strength is our human resource. We at SCAT are blessed to have a team of well-qualified and experienced teaching and non-teaching staff who are highly motivated and ready to always take the institute to the next higher levels. Due to the supportive management and transparent policies, we have been able to maintain a very high retention ratio. All the employees work as a well-knit and cohesive unit, as if a big family. We have sound infrastructure in form of the state-of-the-art laboratories, library with adequate titles, books, magazines and journals, well-equipped classrooms and tutorial rooms, common rooms, sports room, gyms and many more to support the teaching and extracurricular activities. Not only that, we have adequate facilities for the research as well. We also have large number of PhD supervisors to support the research scholars interested in exploring various engineering domains. The institute is also blessed with exceptional students and relatively good alumni base. Strong linkages with the industry and various professional chapters also brings a great strength for knowledge generation, collaborative work, and for overall students' benefit. Various scholarships are also offered by the institute to the students in addition to the grant or support for their research or project work. Well-established academic and administrative policies and well-planned organizational structure to ensure the synergy of all the stakeholders is also acting as one of the important pillars for the development of our institute. Over and above all this, the management's vision of providing the holistic and quality education and more than adequate finance as a budgetary provision has helped a lot over the years to attract not only the students of the state but also that of the other states and even from the foreign countries. Thank you.
Very nicely explained, sir. So on that note, my next question is, what are some plans that you are currently or will be designing for Sarvajanik College of Engineering and Technology, International Affairs and our students are?
Yeah, we are working on some plans to have a great transformation in the next few years. We are exploring currently to have some form of academic autonomy. As I already said, we are affiliated to the Gujarat Technological University right now, and we don't have that much liberty or flexibility. So we are exploring this academic autonomy. The academic autonomy is very essential to further raise our standards. Once it is being achieved, we are looking forward to cross the boundaries and to accelerate on some of the areas like students' mobility and faculty mobility programs, which some of the institutes of esteem in the country and across the globe. At present, we do have few international students studying at our institute, but we do not have the flexibility whereby students can learn few full semesters at our campus and few at the other universities. So I am talking about the joint programs which we are not having right now or currently. We are looking further to the MOUs with other universities in this relation. We are planning to have the collaborative research and consultancy work and in a way have the capacity building for providing expertise in different fields. It is also on the cards to explore for the MOUs with the foreign universities and industries for projects internships, mentoring, students and faculty training, job placements, etc. We do have many courses accredited by the National Board of Accreditation. However, we aim to have the accreditations of all our courses. Floating new courses in the emerging areas and the one required by the society and industry are also under consideration. If autonomy received, we are planning to have some courses designed jointly by industries and the institute to meet the requirement of the specific industry. So these are some of the plans which are on our cards and we are looking forward to.
Very nicely explained, sir. So on that note, my next question is, what are some of the biggest challenges you see both for higher education in general and for Sarvajanik College of Engineering and Technology specifically?
Yeah, very apt and relevant question. Higher education in India has come a long way since the independence. Still, it is in a dire situation. The regulatory bodies have not just allowed opening of large number of institutes, but unfortunately allowed most of them to continue, even if many of them do not comply to norms or have good infrastructure and good teachers. Arguably, the greatest challenges facing higher education in India is the chronic shortage of good, qualified, and experienced faculty. Many institutes may have faculties but may be lacking quality in teaching, research, and training. Another issue that compounds the problems is the rigid curricula and the absence of employer engagement in the course content and skills development. So we are working in isolation. That is what I can say. Further, most of the syllabus or curriculum is very discipline specific, and hence it misses the elements and opportunity for interdisciplinary teaching and learning. Pedagogy and assessment are focused on input and rote learning and lacks the testing and development of a wider range of transversal skills, including critical thinking, analytical reasoning, problem solving, and collaborative working. There is a divide between teaching and research or consultancy. Hardly there are few institutes where you will find that there will be a lot of teaching, consultancy, then rather than rote learning, they are testing the analytical skills and so on. But most of the institutes face such limitations in our higher education sector. So all these have led to the flooding of the society with the graduates who lack creativity, analytical skills, and most importantly, employability skills. Currently, India is having 50% of the Indian population under 25 years. And based on this young brigade, it is aimed to be the 5 trillion economy and amongst the first few of the world's largest economies. However, the lack of employability skills of the graduates may hamper or delay achieving of this goal. The unemployment arising due to large number of unskilled and unemployable graduates has further demotivated many young aspirants to join the professional courses. As a result, even some good educational institutes, especially self-financed institutes like us, are finding it difficult to have enough admissions in certain disciplines to meet the financial break-evens. Decrease in the admissions on one hand and increase in the salary to retain good qualified faculties on the other hand has further adversely affected teacher-students ratio. This further led to deterioration in the quality education. However, as often said, every cloud has a silver lining. The institutes who are not able to maintain quality will slowly perish, and the one maintaining relatively high standards will survive in a longer run. I am hopeful with some of the recommendations of the new education policy 2020, and I also expect that we will see some more fruitful changes in few years. So let us see that we will be having some positive outcomes with this NEP 2020, and institutes like us, who are determined in providing quality education, will go ahead and will provide some good employable graduates who can positively contribute to the development of our nation.
Very nicely explained about the question, sir. So, sir, jumping to the last question, any suggestions you would like to give to the current youth and the aspiring students?
Yeah, I am specifically talking about the suggestions to the aspirants who are looking forward to the admissions or their further study in the field of engineering, because I am associated with an engineering college. So these are more specific to the students looking for engineering courses. So it has been observed over the last couple of years that students have greater inclinations toward admissions in engineering disciplines like computer science, computer engineering, information technology, and information and communication technology. So overall, all these are related to the computer courses. So this will result into a distortion of demand-supply ratio for all other engineering disciplines and even for the computer-related courses. In near future, one will end up with a situation when the industry will find it difficult to get adequate and good engineers for the core engineering sectors. So my message to all my young friends is that all the disciplines are equally important and jobs are available in all the field for good engineers. In fact, often it is more rewarding to those who have learned to swim against the current. So don't just follow the trend. Try to match your interest and skills with the study that you want to pursue. Check your aptitude with the dedicated aptitude test to identify which field is appropriate for you. Further, once you join any course, love that course and make the maximum utilization of the time and the resources during your study. Learning is not just through the books and from teachers. Try experimenting different things and challenges and learn from your experiences. Enjoy the failures, because often you learn more from your failures than what success can teach you. Keep your eyes, ears, and especially mind open and try to see the things happening around you and apply the fundamentals. Engineering is more often application of basic principles and fundamental knowledge with common sense to solve the societal needs. With this, you will find more of you in form of job creators and not as job seekers. And that is what the country needs today. Further, involve yourself in all the co-curricular and extracurricular activities for having all-round development to present a young, intelligent, talented, and a physically fit youth task force for the new India.
Very well said, sir. Good message to the current youth, sir. So, sir, I am ending up this questionnaire session, sir. Thank you, sir, for giving such informative information about your college, sir. Thank you, sir, for being a part of College Dunia, sir. Thank you.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
Sir.